Fair to say no reasonable person has ever taken this jabroni seriously. Well, he is the pride of Texas. And in our divinely twisted story, our featured story today, the man once dubbed Lion Ted by Donald Trump, he cites a most unexpected figure in his accountability assessment of the terrible flooding, the loss of life, and the horrible suffering that's happened deep in the heart of Texas. That's Ted Cruz country, at least when he's not crisis cruising off to Cancun.
These photos went viral, showing Senator Cruz and his family at an airport Wednesday. You can see him in this video at an airport in Cancun earlier today.
Now, you know what we're seeing unfold from this weekend's tragedy? Well, it's been made all the worse by the GOP constant buck passing in defense of their leaders' leadership, who, in fairness, as expected, immediately snapped into presidential action mode as soon as the terrible news was first reported.
All of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place. Any questions, please?
Well, sure. Some might suggest that the president that we just saw working so closely with ICE, Cream, and his cohort, Pleatherface, might actually bear some responsibility for this weekend's Texas National Weather Service chainsaw massacre.
We got the warnings on our phones hours later. The destruction had already been done before the warnings came out.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
Well, according to Ted Cruz, his analysis of culpability for this disaster, that's the stuff of our main story for you today. Now, before we show you Senator Cruz's devout finger-pointing, let's give you a quick taste of his initial assessment of the tragic flooding that happened in his home state.
I know there's been some that want to politicize this senator, and we kind of got to push them aside.
Yeah.
But we got to do something different when it comes to protecting our girls, our kids, our community. What can we do? I mean, 45 minutes? Adults can't even respond in that time.
Well, look, there's a staging and ordering of things. The first thing with any crisis is search and rescue. And search and rescue is still ongoing. There are 10 girls missing. Our prayers are that those girls will still be found. After the search and rescue, you've got to just rebuild. I mean, you look at the wreckage here, and this wreckage, the number of homes and RVs and cabins that have been damaged. But there's no doubt afterwards we're going to have a serious retrospective, as you do with any disaster.
That's right.
And say, okay, what could have been done differently to prevent this disaster? And look, the fact that you have girls asleep in their cabins when the floodwaters are rising, something went wrong there. We've got to fix that and have a better system of warning.
Now, in case you think that something more could have been done to better help save the victims, well, you know you're probably right. But don't, for the love of God, blame Trump. No, let's listen to this son of a preacher man. He has other ideas, and it's our featured clip, and it shows us just where Senator Cruz's ultimate devotion lies.
Senator David Brody here. We've known each other for a very long time. It's good to see you not under these circumstances. Your father, obviously, Rafael Cruz, a pastor. You have a deep faith. I'm wondering if you can address to our audience the question, and it's an age-old question, when God doesn't make sense. I know Pastor James Dobson wrote a book about this. I'm curious to get your thoughts in this time. Good morning to you.
You know, David, it's a question that everyone struggles with. And why does God allow bad things to happen to good people? Why does God allow bad things to happen to young children? And I will say there are theologians and pastors who've been unable to answer that question for millennia. And I don't know that I have any additional insight other than saying God is a good and loving God, and he will help us through this. And I will say in the last few years, I've got several friends who have tragically lost children, and I think it is the hardest challenge to go through, and all I know to do is to lean on God, to lean on prayer, to lean on family, to lean on friends, and just grieve. But it is a grieving process, and look, I think every mom and dad this week has asked themselves, what if that was me? What if that was my little girl? What if that was my little boy? We have a good and benevolent God, but God allows things to happen sometimes that defy human explanation, and that's where we need love and where we need grace. And this is a time in particular for the church to do what the church should be doing every day. But in a time of grief, I think the church has a particular responsibility to step up, and I do think Texas has benefited. We have such a strong community of believers in Texas that you have churches that step in and do the role we should.
What's that old saying? The Lord helps those who help themselves, which actually is not in the Bible, by the way. But why bother with such details, Ted, when apparently you have sold your soul, well, to the devil in a blue suit? And apparently there's nothing and no one left to blame but God when bad things happen. Certainly, we can't blame this dude, or we certainly can't blame this dude, or even this dude. No, Ted Cruz, pray on this. God help those who could, but so cruelly failed, to forecast and fortify resources for the frail against the forces of Mother Nature. Now, let's pray you see the error of your blind devotion, if not for your own sake, Ted, well, then maybe for theirs.